Headphone Episode 1. Introduction to Fraud and Corruption in Organizations. Intro. Welcome to the first episode of this series where we will explore, step by step, how the algorithms used today to detect fraud and corruption in modern organizations work. If you've ever wondered how companies uncover irregularities without manually reviewing millions of operations one by one, this podcast will explain it clearly and without unnecessary technical jargon. Core idea of the episode: understanding what fraud is, what corruption is, why they are distinct, and why it is now impossible to combat them without the support of data analysis and predictive models. Main content: what do we mean by fraud? Fraud is any hidden, intentional action designed to obtain an economic or personal benefit through deception. It is not an error. It is not an oversight. It is a plan, and it almost always involves manipulation of information, documents, or systems. And what do we mean by corruption? Corruption goes a step further. It does not always involve only money. It can be a favor, an undue advantage, privileged access, or even blocking internal controls to benefit a third party. It often combines abuse of power plus concealment. The key difference: fraud is usually financial, corruption is usually organizational. Both harm the company, but each leaves different traces in the data. Why was detecting these practices so difficult before? Because everything was done manually. Auditors reviewing small samples, information cross-checks done by hand, total reliance on testimonies or suspicions. Today, data tells a different story. Systems record every movement, every user, every transaction, and algorithms allow us to see patterns invisible to a human. The era change, from traditional auditing to analytics. Until a few years ago, auditing relied on representative samples. A part of the universe was reviewed, hoping it reflected the whole. But now, 100% of operations can be audited. And that changes everything. Algorithms don't get tired. They don't have human biases. And they can detect behaviors that go unnoticed at first glance. Atypical transactions at unusual times. Employees behaving differently from their role. Vendors repeating suspicious patterns. Documents that do not follow normal logic. In short, analytics turns the invisible into visible. A simple example: imagine a company where every employee must record travel expenses. Traditional auditing might review perhaps 5% of those receipts. But an algorithm can review all of them and detect duplicate expenses, values outside the normal range, charged on holidays, amounts that are always just below the allowed limit. That's something that used to take weeks. Today it takes seconds. Episode closure. In this episode, we saw the foundation, what fraud is, what corruption is, and why data analytics forever changed the way they are combated. In the next episodes, we will delve into the specific models, from logistic regression to advanced machine learning, behavioral analysis, and automatic tools that any organization can incorporate. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in episode 2. Thank you for joining us on this episode. If you are interested in learning more about fraud detection models, advanced analytics, and digital auditing, follow this series. We'll catch you on the next episode.